It's time for day on the homestead. It starts with getting up. First it started with getting up at 2:30 a.m. and then I went back to sleep. So we're going to do some stuff, some boring stuff and some fun stuff probably, and just some stuff. To make my tea, this is loquat leaf from the fruit loquat. I was reading about kidney stuff and this came up and I was like, oh, this is, used for kidney issues, and but some blood tests show kidney issues, and then other health practitioners have told me I have kidney issues, and I thought, that's cool, I'll try it. And I kind of like it, so I just kept doing it. Sometimes I'll take herb stuff, even mild stuff, and my body, it just doesn't agree with me and I don't want to drink it. Like I get this feeling like I don't want to drink that, and I don't get that with this, so I just drink it. All my eggshells get saved for making wine. So eventually we're going to have a video on making wine with eggshells. Now these two eggs are from my chickens and that's for storage. I only have 2 chickens left right now, so I don't really have enough eggs. Eating here outside requires constant vigilance because of the chickens. Get the... A few times I've ever counted calories, it's to make sure I'm getting enough, or a certain quantity that's usually kind of in excess, if anything. Oh man, that egg tastes awful. Here, eat your own egg. Sometimes a chicken will get into some dead thing or like old fish or something and eat it, and then it affects the taste of the eggs. There's a little buck deer about 25 feet away, and he just ran off. He's been hanging around, little spike buck, first year on his own. Body fat is a really interesting topic. Body fat regulation has a lot to do with some kind of internal mechanism that sets a point and says, I want to be this fat, basically. I want this body composition. Makes adjustments to keep you there. It changes in either direction. That's going to be the new paradigm in body fat regulation, or weight loss, whatever you want to call it. That's the holy grail. Imagine if you could take that and reset that point, then your body would always kind of want to come back to that point. Fascinating. Getting ready for a dump run, cleaning up old garbage here, trying to get the garden cleaned up after like years and years of neglect. There's piles of irrigation stuff and buckets, broken buckets everywhere, old hoses. We want to plant these melons. It's called Hayogen, and it's a really great melon, real small, like single serving size, very tasty, and it'll actually set 2 crops in 1 year sometimes. Those are going to go in this bed, but that's going to happen after something else happens. Right now I want to get this bed here watered, and then we'll come back and do the melons, but we have to go get some clay first. You can see I have quite a few artichokes here. This plant's great, but it's not a very good year actually, because I had a lot of rodents in here and they eat the crowns. So there's so many crowns on the plant. Each crown will produce something like this with a bunch of artichokes on it. But the rodents will come in and just take out the entire crown, like gophers and voles and stuff. So I lost a lot of crowns this year, so I don't have nearly as many. So I'm just trying to play catch up and work my way through the garden, cleaning up and getting some kind of garden for this year. It's super late to be planting, but I think it's still worth it. I think I'm going to be able to eat more normally again soon. I hope. So I'm being optimistic. I do this every year though. I plant a garden and then I can't eat it, or I can't take care of it or whatever, but whatever, I just got to keep trying, I guess. That is a gorgeous shot. If I don't hurry though, I'll miss it because the light's going to change any minute. This is just so I can get a focus point. Alright, day on the homestead. And yeah, one of the reasons I can even do this video at all is I've been doing something called the Wim Hof Method. Wim Hof the Iceman. So the basics that I'm doing now are cold water exposure and some simple breathing exercises, which take me about 15 minutes, but I'll do them up to 3, even 4 times a day. Since starting that, I feel a lot better. I've just had more energy. I was probably functioning on about 10% energy for a long time, if you could believe that. Imagine taking your life and just cutting out 90% of your energy. So I've been able to do more stuff, and I've been spending a lot of time just trying to get my life together and organize stuff and just feel like I'm not, just everything's not always falling apart. So that's why I haven't been producing a lot of content. Part of this is cold water exposure. So I'm damming up a little spot on the creek here just with a real low dam to just get a little bit of extra water so I can soak. And I just like plop in this little pool and just sit there and pickle in the cold water until I'm, get cold and my body temperature starts to drop. So what I'm here to do right now is I'm going to measure the water temperature again. I measured it a little while ago and it was 53 degrees. We've had several hot days and warm nights in a row, so I just want to see if the temperature has changed at all and if it's going to kind of like hopefully hold at this temperature through the summer. And then we're going to go get some clay and prepare some kind of a mortar basically and dam up a little spot here just to make this a little bit better of a spot to hang out in the summer, because I'll be in and out of here probably twice a day all summer. Let's see, we're set to Fahrenheit, so 72.6 degrees, and so yeah, it's already warmed up to 60 degrees. Well, I don't know how cold it has to be, but this may just have to do. I do get cold if I just sit and lay in there for a long time. Hopefully it won't get much warmer than that. But yeah, I think I'll just go ahead and proceed as planned, which is to put a dam here. And it should actually be an improvement to the creek. Deeper little pools like this are favored by the salamanders. Like I share this pool with at least 2 salamanders about this big. This kind of like semi-rare giant Pacific salamander. They get about 8 inches long. They're really cool. And by then they live on the land, but in this phase of their life they live in the water. And they favor the deeper pools like this. I'm kind of creating like a habitat for those guys too. And because this had a lot of like built up gravel and silt and sand in there. That's the plan. We're going to go get some clay to make this happen. So yeah, I'm already not feeling up to doing this video. So I'm going to stop and do my breathing thing because I've found that it just keeps me more resilient through the day. And sometimes I can get kind of a second wind, literally. Like I've been walking around and I'm kind of winded because my physiology is all screwed up. It's not because I'm out of shape, it's because my system isn't functioning right. We think of respiration we think of it from this end, like the lungs, inhaling and exhaling and all that, but the other end of respiration is in your cells. So if your cells aren't really working right and the energy systems aren't working right, all kinds of things can go wrong. So, sometimes I'll be winded from just like, picking something up off the ground. And other times, I can just like run down the driveway without too much trouble. And this is not really to do with conditioning. We think far too much of that stuff as being from the conditioning side, which is important obviously, but there's much more going on. So I just try to get my posture super as aligned as possible. And then I do all the way from the bottom, all the way like real full breath, and then pretty close together, because the point is to kind of hyperventilate and pump your system up with oxygen. I'll talk about that in a minute. So the interesting thing about the Wim Hof method is like you're hyperventilating for a long time, which is going to reduce carbon dioxide levels and increase oxygen levels in your blood, but you can't use oxygen without carbon dioxide, and there's like a balance there of some kind. Once you get all that oxygen into your bloodstream, then you let your air out and you do the hold. So think about that. So I'm holding as long as possible, and this time it was only 30 seconds, but let's say I reach 1.5 minutes. I've never gotten even to 2 minutes. So I get 1.5 minutes. I've been building carbon dioxide that whole time because my cellular respiration is still working. After that, you inhale again and take a deep breath for 10 seconds and hold it, but you still haven't blown out any of that carbon dioxide, so you're still holding all of that. And I think this is, part of the key. Usually you finish a round and then you do another round, right? You start right away into the next round, and ideally each round gets you a little bit longer breath holding time. And the breath holding is essentially measuring the amount of available oxygen, and that's a complicated thing. I think you can't just say it's, oh, how much oxygen do you have, because simple oxygen saturation isn't adequate to explain oxygen usage. But ideally, the amount of time you can last will get longer because you have more available oxygen, or ability to use that oxygen would probably be a better way to put it. So I'm going to do this, and I'm hoping that a combination of the breathing and reoxygenating, and also just relaxing for a minute, because I'm all jittered out from, I had a little bit of coffee, and since I started doing Wim Hof, I can hardly drink coffee. I just get all jittery, and I drank like this much coffee, in a little cup, like an espresso shot worth of watery coffee. It might seem weird that I'm doing this in the sun, but I'm actually trying to acclimate myself for the day. So yeah, those are pretty bad numbers. I hit 1 minute in the last one. Not very good. I hope to get to, over a minute in the last round of 4 rounds. And if I keep doing it right now, like if I just sit here and keep going, it won't really build. It might even go back down, or just kind of plateau off, is what I've noticed. So, again, this has everything to do with physiology, and you can't just say, oh, I'm going to put this much oxygen in my body and it's going to work this way. What I'm hoping is if I stop and do that, 3 or 4 times through the day, with interspersed with cold baths, that will keep me on track and help me get through the day, because normally I would just end up quitting because I don't really know what to do, but now I have a tool that I can apply to try to get myself some kind of resilience, instead of just having to kind of fold in the long run and not be able to do it. So right now I'm going to go and take a cold bath. See this little lizard right here? He's in mating season, so he's doing push-ups. He's probably after this. I think that's a female and that's a male. So they have blue, this really gorgeous blue, like turquoise blue on their chest, and they do this to show it off, and they do these little push-ups. So he's doing that. He's thinking about jumping up there and chasing her up the wall. Hey look, I got new boots thanks to my patrons. People of Patreon, thank you so much for supporting me, because honestly it's been some hard times, and I would have been having to do something else to make money besides this, for sure, without you guys. And everyone else that enjoys my content can also thank them. For those of you who can afford it and do it, that's great. And for those of you who can't, or even don't want to, that's totally fine too. And I do this for everybody, and as long as I'm surviving, I'll keep doing it. And I'll try to do it better. Just can't stop looking at my sexy white legs. So I'll just hop in here for about, just till I start getting real cold. Stop looking! No blood in those hands. We get warmed back up. Yeah, well, now I feel pretty pumped. Let's go get some clay. I feel way better. Still a little stiff and cold, and get loosened up here and get warm. I have a pile of clay out here. You can see my loquats are ripening, but there's a damn hornet's nest right there. Every scenario I can think of ends up with me getting stung. We had some excavation done, and I had the guy scoop out the layer of clay that was in there and set it aside, and I brought a bunch of it up here. And I just use this whenever I want to build something with clay. Oh, those are heavy. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to dump this out on a board and crush it up. And then I'm going to mix in sand and gravel. She's trying to catch a lizard. This is solid rock over here. It's just basically bedrock up this side. But this side is dirt held together by roots and some rocks. But I want to get the dam just slightly in here, so I want to dig a little bit of that out. The dam across here, make sure that these two sides of the dam are higher. On this side it doesn't matter because it's bedrock, but on this side I want like a large rock and I want this to be up high. So that way if this fills up with water, we want a big channel in the middle of the dam here where the spill can come over and won't wash up the side of this bank. If I do that and I use large enough rocks, it'll probably last through the winter and maybe a bunch of winters. Oh, there's a nice frog right there. Is that a native frog? You see, we have bullfrogs. They come and they eat. And, you know, that might be a bullfrog. I have to catch it. It looks like it's probably a yellow-legged frog, though. The native frogs are in trouble because the bullfrogs eat them all. See if I can catch them without falling in. You know, I actually can't tell. I think it might just be a bullfrog, but it does have... Whoa, buddy. It does have yellow on the legs, but... The world's in trouble, man. We've been moving too much stuff around, and, you know, eventually things strike a balance, but it takes a really, really long time for that to happen. And we're just causing so many problems so fast with invasive species and disease, all these tree diseases we've been talking about in the comments. Like, I have my tree disease issue here, but everyone else is like, oh my god, at my house, you know, everything's dying from this, and the ash trees are dying from this, and the elm trees, and we already lost the chestnuts, because diversity is good. And when species are too successful, or you just start pulling, you know, multiple species out of a system, it's just bad news. Now it looks like I have basically a bank of gravel and sand right here, so I'm going to go ahead and take advantage of that and start my mix. I'm thinking about 2 parts sand and gravel. Now I also want to dig these rocks down, you know, not a lot, but just a little bit, so that there's no chance that water could kind of wash underneath or anything like that. This is pretty much the funnest thing ever. Playing around in the water with mud rocks. This rock is pretty big. I really want to get it out because then I could use it. I think I need to take my shoes off and just get in the water. I need to get some shorts. I should make some shorts out of leather. Lederhosen. I got a buddy in Pennsylvania who's like kind of the same subspecies as me. Also a hide tanner. That's how we met on the internet. He found my site. Yeah! Oh yeah, this is a great rock to have. He does something that I always wanted to start working with, which is oil tanning. Oil tanning uses these specific, highly unstable oils to tan leather with, and it's interesting because the oils aren't the lubricant. That's not why you use the oils. You oxidize the oils by exposure to oxygen and heat. In the breakdown process, they form tanning agents, like chemical tanning agents. Usually they use fish oil, like cod liver oil, seal oil, I think. There's a lot that you can use, but there's ones that were more, you know, commonly traditionally used, just probably because a combination of them working well or better and being accessible. If you know what chamois is, like the traditional real chamois is made with oil tanning, and that's what lederhosen are made from. So I'm just trying to get down to like a flat band here, and then I'll dig in right there. Can I push it out this far? I'm kind of tempted to go one more layer out. I don't really see a reason not to. Yeah, let's go for it. Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, this rock is embedded into this side already. I don't want to move that. I like that. It's nice and stable. But I will dig this, and I will cut in here just a little bit and insert another rock, like maybe this one. Or there's a real big one up there. For now, what I want to start with is a rock that fits really well against this almost square thing here. 1 part of clay to 2 parts of gravel. I think I need to go with a little higher clay content. I'll go roughly 50-50 with this stuff. I think one of the most useful tools I could have right now is a simple iron rod for packing this stuff in. And I am going to go get that. I worked on this for a couple of hours, and there's just a long way to go, and I'm kind of losing my appetite for that right now, and I want to get there's a bunch of other stuff I want to get done today. So I think this is a project better left for like doing in small stages. Maybe when I come up for my bath, I'll spend an hour or something every other day until it's adequate. But I think it'll turn out okay. I think we should go plant some melons first. It sure is nice here in the shade though. I don't mind heat, kind of consider it, and always have, an opportunity to build my resilience and resistance to heat. One of my core philosophies is don't get too comfortable. I've been saying that for a long time, but the missing piece of the picture basically is Wim Hof and that type of training and adaptation, which I didn't think I could do. I've been interested in something like that, but I didn't think I could do it. But now I'm thinking maybe I can, with like the right types of stress and the right amounts at the right times and just slowly building up. Maybe I can build my resistance and, not just fold when I'm under stress, because I've had no exercise tolerance hardly. Usually I get a bunch of exercise. I have, a down day or 2 or a week, and I seem to have more exercise tolerance now. All right, time to put foot socks on my apples, aka footies. Now this is a Pitmiston pineapple, which so far has been an apple of no account, as they used to say in the old days. Here, I mean, definitely elsewhere, it's a respected dessert apple. Probably does taste like pineapple, but here it has been an apple of no account so far. We're going to give it another year, and I want these fruits protected. Yeah, so we're going to run around and put these things on apples, and the apples we're going for right now are important apples, cross-pollinations that I made between 2 apples that I want to get seed from to grow new varieties. So those fruits I really want to protect, and also some seedling apples. Okay, you can see this tag right here. WP stands for Williams Pride. This is Pink Parfait. Pink Parfait and Williams Pride is one of the crosses I'm most excited about right now. There are 2 excellent eating apples. Both of them are excellent dessert apples. Very different times of year. This one ripens in December, and Williams Pride ripens in August, late August, even mid-August probably. They both have excellent texture, and they both have red flesh, but it's mildly red flesh. It's not really strongly red. So my hope is that I'll get to keep all these excellent dessert qualities while reinforcing the red trait. See? You see why that would be exciting? And I made a lot of these crosses. Unless things change really radically, which they could, because I feel so much better in the last few weeks, like for reals, and I have hope that will continue. And I have help coming to help me with that problem, it looks like. Sorry, I'm looking at apples and getting distracted. So I'm not going to cover all of these apples right now. I'm just going for the important ones, and I'll catch up with the rest later on. So yeah, it looks like I've covered all the cross-pollinations. Anyway, I probably will not be growing out those fruits, or those seeds. I will be sending them to you guys to grow out. I've made a lot of crosses. I wouldn't doubt that I've crossed 100 or more fruits this year. And if they make it through, I will be sending those seeds out for other people to work on. It's a way that I can still do these crosses that I'm excited about, but not have to grow them out, because this project has gotten too big for me unless I start to get in some help and raise some funds, which I may do, but it still requires that I serve as a sort of a hub, like a working hub. I haven't been up to doing that, so that's why I haven't really expanded this project to include other people. But you know, my ideal would be that we raise funds and I get a manager for this project who basically coordinates labor, makes sure everything gets done, whether they do the labor or, you know, kind of hire it out. And then we expand this project to include not only more apple growing, you know, growing out more seedlings and starting to cross-pollinate or back cross and stuff, because see, now I'm going to have these fruits to work with, and I can cross them back to some of the original parents, or I can cross them with other crosses or other apples and kind of continue this into a second generation. But also the project would include trying to grow large quantities of these intentional crosses so that I can send seed out. People get really excited about this whole project and they want to participate, and you know, it's cool to plant a store apple or something like that, or just something you like. But you know, I've been here for 12 or 13 years growing these apples and testing them. I have like 250 varieties. I've observed them. I have the genetic stock. I know what seems exciting to cross. That means that I have something valuable here that other people don't have. So ideally I would like to be sending out cyanwood, seeds of intentional cross-pollination, some open pollinated seed, but not too much, and pollen every year. That's what I would like. Now this particular tree, let's take a look, is a cross between grenadine, a red-fleshed apple, and an unknown parent because the tag was lost. But I know grenadine is one of the parents. And what will this turn out to be like? It has got tons of fruit on it. Potential parents with this one are basically Lady Williams, Golden Russet, Gold Rush, Wixon. I think those are the crosses I made that year. Very exciting. This is the tree with most fruit on it. There's probably, I'm going to guess maybe around 12 or even more, 12 or a few more of these seedlings have fruit on them this year. I had about 18 that I counted made blooms, but they didn't all, you know, they weren't all able to set fruit. Oh, I forgot to say too that with the Williams Pride Pink Parfait cross, Williams Pride also carries some disease resistance, which I'm more and more interested in. I've got enough crosses in that are just going to tell us about kind of like flavor, how the parent traits do and don't cross over. This is a different variety right here. Probably Lady Williams and grenadine. They seem to be the ones that produce the earliest. Ooh, look at this one. This looks promising here. Also another Lady Williams grenadine cross. Man, I think I need to go chill and do my exercise, my breathing exercises. Maybe even take that cold bath again. I feel kind of messed up. Okay, I'm out of footies. That's that. I have to come back. I'm putting my moccasins on because my feet hurt. My feet are messed up from a lifetime of wearing shoes, and I'd like to fix them, but it's going to take some time and intention and creativity to fix them, and I have to stop wearing standard shoes. Hell, I might have to invent some shoes. Pretty much like these moccasins, but they wear out fast and they're real slippery. you might think, oh, moccasins would be great because you can, you know, you grab the ground with your feet. No, they get slick as glass. Any leather soles do. The other thing that you can do though is, you know, add some kind of rubberized stuff to the bottom that's still flexible. My teacher, Jim Riggs, used to use barge cement mixed with tire shavings, like shredded tire, and you would just paint that on and it would, you know, form a thin coating that's really grippy and long lasting. I did my breathing exercises 3 or 4 times today. 1 cold bath. I would do another one right now, but I don't want to take the time because I'd like to do a few more things before dark and it's getting pretty late. Got my dinner on. I think I want to go out and cover a few more important apples. These are going to be early apples, that the ones the birds are going to attack first, namely the Gravensteins in this case. And I just want to get a number of those covered with something so that I actually get to eat some of them. And it almost looks like I might have to order another box of foot socks because I'm using so many. It looks to be a pretty good apple year, so with any luck we'll have some interesting apples to taste and some new seedling apples as well. I used a lot of those foot socks things in the seedling rows, so there's quite a bit of fruit in there. And we might work on propagating this cactus right here because this big piece in the back is actually hanging off, and I can make a lot of cuttings out of that thing. So I might go ahead and do that too. I feel so much better than I usually do. Just like already worlds better, and I can see a difference between a week ago and now. And I think this is just the start. And in general, for other reasons, my life's just blowing up in a good way. So hopefully this is the turning point now for Stephen version 7.0. Isn't that right? Isn't that right? Oh yeah, you want to get some? Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, you like it? Yeah. Oh, it must have been real good. As usual, my nice super doll. I was using it the other day to just like dig in the dirt, like some gravelly dirt. I was thinking how horrified so many people would be. That's like a job for a knife sometimes, when it's what you have and what I have, for me anyway. You can sharpen the damn thing. This piece back here, which is actually quite large and really beautiful, it's not attached that well actually, and it's growing way out to the side and everything, so I just decided I should harvest that. I can make a lot of new plants out of that. So I think that I can get, you know, pretty much a new plant out of every one of these lobes like that. That's my plan. I don't know that much about propagating these, but I think I know enough. And now this will make a plant with no cut surfaces once that's rooted in. And then the rest of it I can plant, and it'll make new tops that I can cut off and further propagate. Now here I could probably get one here and another one, but I think I'm just gonna go with this. God, they're so cool looking. Look at that. So this is a contorted form of San Pedro cactus. And these I'll leave to sit around and dry. You want all these surfaces to dry off, and then they can be planted in a loose medium where they can root easily, like it's kind of sandy. I make a mix of like, throw some charcoal in there, sand, crushed oyster shell. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 plants that are just tops, you know, with no cuts in them. Like this one will have a cut at the top, so it'll grow a pup, and maybe I'll break that off and root it or something. Okay, that's it for today. I didn't get as much done as I wanted to. I never do, but that's how it is. I don't make lists of things I'm gonna do anymore. I make lists of things I could do and kind of try to prioritize. I had to take a nap and do some, you know, regrouping a couple times. That's some personal stuff to deal with, so I need to spend some time getting my life together. Things are real messy here, and I'm kind of in a transition mode personally, you know, personal changes and stuff. So I want to get the place cleaned up and kind of like get the old messes and old projects out of the way and out of my head and out of my face, so I can kind of move on and concentrate and get more back into like concentrating on the creative part of making content and doing projects and stuff like that, which I'm pretty excited about. But right now my head's it's kind of wrapped around getting my life together, so all that stuff is more efficient and more satisfying and less frustrating and all that stuff. So hopefully soon things will go the way that I want them to go for this channel, and that has to do with me producing the kind of content that I want to produce and doing the projects that I want to do. And those in turn will help the channel grow further. But we're about to hit 25,000 subscribers, so that's pretty cool. I want to thank Ben Shelton for sending me this GoPro that he had, and it's been pretty cool. It took me a while to get around to using it at all, and now that I've started to use it, it seems like it's good, like it has a place here. It's also waterproof, so that opens up new possibilities. So thank you very much for that, and on behalf of everyone else viewing. Okay, good night. I'm gonna go eat.